The third golden rule of Christmas is to plan, plan, plan. Now, planning, I believe, is really important anyway in terms of keeping weight off, but it's just as important over the Christmas holidays. And by that, I don't just mean Christmas Day, Boxing Day. I actually mean from the start of the festive season right the way through to after New Year at the end of the festive season. Because the reason is when you plan your food, you can be really much more deliberate about what you're going to eat. You're not going to necessarily end up just having takeaways at the last minute because you haven't got food. But more importantly, you can also compensate for some of the other food that you might be eating, for more of the calorific food that you might be eating. So for example, if you know you're going to be out at a party one day and you're going to be eating out, you can plan to make sure that the next day you eat something a bit more sensible to counteract that. It is really important you remember that not all calories are equal, and different foods do different things to our weight when we eat them. And some foods will turn to fat much more quickly on your body. And unfortunately, that's a lot of the processed foods, that's refined foods, that's sugars. So a lot of the foods you will come across at parties will do that. You want to go for the other kind of foods that actually have quite the opposite effect. So they are low GI foods. Now they're foods that release the energy slowly, and therefore they keep you feeling fuller for longer. So you don't actually eat as much because you feel much more full up. There are also foods called fat burning foods, and they're foods that either create a process when you eat them, or they go straight through you, or they release certain energies or chemicals in the foods when you eat them, which means that you don't turn all the calories in them straight to fat. So what you need to do is to plan your meals so that when you can, you're eating fat burning foods, you're eating low GI foods, and you're making up for the other days when you're having the more calorific foods. The other thing this will help you with is dealing with sugar slumps, because when we do eat more sugar than usual, it raises a spike in our blood sugar goes up, and that means that we get sugar cravings afterwards. And one way of dealing with those sugar cravings is actually to make sure that you eat slow release, low GI foods afterwards, and that way you can help keep your blood sugar a lot more equal, a lot more even, and you won't get sugar cravings in exactly the same way.